guys, it's Lynnea, and welcome to the Flavor of the Month card kit September 2019 box from Scrapping for Less. And this is my usual 5 cards 1 kit video plus a few extras. So let's start by taking a look at the Fall is Coming card kit. Collection 1 starts off with this cute little scaredy cat stamp by Sunny Studio Stamps. There's some black twine and then these little kids ephemeras by Simple Stories. There's some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs. These stickers are from Thickers, and they are like holographic. They're super cool. And this is the Frightful Cuties paper by Scrapping for Less. And of course they are double-sided. You're going to get 6 sheets in each collection. Check out these pumpkins. They are so cute. So I am going to just flip through all of the contents and everything you're going to get in the card kit. And as usual, I'll show you pretty much everything and just go slowly through all 4 collections, plus the banana split extras, and then we'll go right into making some cards. So here's everything from collection number 1. Let's move on to collection 2. This one has a Paper Sweetie stamp set, and this is the Sweater Weather stamp. And I love that little mug with the floral, and then I super love that solid sweater. You're also going to get some binding ribbon, also by Paper Sweeties, some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs, and mine are purple and glittery, so super fun. Some Forever Fall stickers by Simple Stories, and I will be using those in one of my cards today. And then here are the Cozy Fall papers by Scrapping for Less. Again, 6 sheets, and each one is double-sided. These are gorgeous floral fall patterns and colors. I love this cable knit sweater pattern. It's so pretty. And then there's a blue one too. And so these are all the things you're going to get in collection 2, the Cozy Fall collection. Let's move on to collection 3, and I am so thrilled about this Trinity Stamps stamp set. It's the Thankful Floral stamp, and I love that sentiment and that floral, that sunflower cluster, so pretty. As well as the embellishment mix by Trinity Stamps. There's some little ladybugs and little leaves, so cute. Again, enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs, and there are some sunflower stickers by Sticko. And then these are the fall foliage papers by Scrapping for Less. I'm so in love with these pretty autumn colors. There's this page that's full of sunflowers, but I really was drawn to these leaves with the pretty reds and the corals and the like that mustardy brown. I loved them so much, and this is probably my favorite collection from the kit just because of the colors and the stamp set. I was so drawn to this, and I didn't end up using that main sunflower image, but I'm definitely going to keep that out on my craft table and use that in a future card because I love it so much. Collection 4 has all these cute little woodland critters. So this is the Woodland Friends stamp set by Scrapping for Less. I adore that little moose, and there's a skunk and a snail, so super cute. These are color in cut-aparts by Photoplay. You can color these in with your alcohol markers or your colored pencils and cut them out and add them on a card front for a quick and easy card. I love that little pie one with the 3 pies stacked up. So super fun. You're also going to get some green and white twine by Derice, some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs, and then these are the Woodland Critters papers by Scrapping for Less. There's a wood grain pattern. I love this polka dot pattern, and then this dark blue checked pattern. These colors are deep and dark and perfect for autumn, and they really do give you that woodland feel. So fun. That's everything you'll get in collection 4. Now I'm going to show you the cardstocks. These are 100-pound high quality colored cardstocks. You're also going to get 4 envelopes, perfect for making 4 cards and being able to send them right out. So the colors we have here, we have wild cherry, there's black licorice, chocolate brown, limeade, and grape jelly, and then there's 2 sheets of 100-pound cardstock, and that is from Nina. You will get all 4 of those collections, plus the envelopes and the cardstock, in the regular, the double dip Sunday collection, or card kit I should say, but in the banana split you're going to get an extra pack of goodies. So you're going to get an extra little enamel dots, a random color of Nuvo drops. You'll get the Fall Greetings Sentiment stamp set by Scrapping for Less, and this gorgeous Autumn Blessings die from Scrapping for Less. So definitely worth it to upgrade to the banana split kit because you get all those extra little goodies. Okay, so like I said, this is my usual 5 cards, 1 kit video, but I do have a couple extra cards. I think I actually made 8. So for this first collection, I'm going to start off here. I wanted to use those little kids cardstock pieces and create just a little cute, maybe like trick-or-treating scene, but super simple. So I'm going to cut down some of my favorite papers. I loved this pumpkin pattern, and I love this star pattern, and I thought the stars would look great as a sky background and maybe those pumpkins as a grass. So I did some die cutting, and I also die cut a black frame with a reverse scalloped die from Pink and Maine. And I'm just going to start building this little scene here. Like I said, it's very easy and clean and simple, something you can easily do. And I did use a stitched hill die cut to die cut the that green pumpkin pattern paper. And then I also die cut some black pattern paper just to map behind that and give that edge a little bit more definition and just give it a finishing look. So I stamped that Happy Halloween from the Sunny Studio Scaredy Cat stamp set, and then I just added those little kids right on top of that scene. Really clean and simple and easy to make. But I definitely wanted to use the actual cat and the pumpkin stamp because he is just adorable. So I stamped him out, and I'm going to color him in with some Copic markers. Really easy blending here. For the pumpkin, I'm using YR04, YR07, and YR09. And I'm starting with my darkest color, the YR09, and just adding some dark color pretty much all the way around the pumpkin, but then also bringing it down using those shading lines. I'll blend it out with my medium color and then color over the whole thing with my lightest, the YR04. For my cat, I wanted to make him a black cat with a white stripe on his face, so I'm using my neutral gray Copic markers, my N4, N6, and N8, and this is the color combo that I use all the time, but for some reason sometimes the N8 just seems a little too dark, so I am going to start with my lightest color, coloring that all over, and then I'll go in with my dark from there, blend it out with my medium, and blend all over with the light, and that'll give me a good gradient and a good shade of color. So I decided to create a circle card, and originally this was just going to be a clean and simple circle card with some pattern paper and that little cat in the middle with a sentiment underneath. I thought maybe I'd add him with an action wobbler, but then I decided to use some sequins from my stash and create a super fun shaker card. So here are the elements I'm going to need to create my shaker. I'm going to start by flipping over that reverse scallop circle. That's going to be my frame. I added some thin double-sided adhesive around that, and I'm going to add a piece of acetate that I die cut using the same die that I cut with the pattern paper. And then that other white circle there, that's actually going to be the back of my card. I'm going to form the card base right with that white pattern, or the white cardstock. And then the front's actually going to be my pattern paper, and I'll show you how I do that in a little bit. To create the shaker well, I'm taking some foam tape that I doubled up, and I cut it down the middle just to make it skinnier so that it will fit behind my reverse scallop circle frame. And I'm going to just move that tape and completely fill in that back so that there's no way that my shaker elements can get out. I added some gold sequins to the middle, and then I can just remove that release paper, and my background paper is cut to be the same exact size as that frame, so I don't have to do any guessing about where I'm going to put the pattern paper. I can just add that right to the back of that shaker frame and keep building my card from there. I'm just going to use some liquid glue to adhere the cat and the sentiment on, and here's how I'm going to create my card base. I cut this white circle the same size as that pattern paper front with the shaker on it. I scored it probably about 1/2 inch so that it'll just fold, and then I folded it back. I'm going to add some double-sided strong adhesive right onto the top of that score line so that it has that flap there. I'll remove that adhesive, and then I can stick that front circle with the shaker element right on top, just lining it up so that everything will be straight. And now I'm going to open it up, and you're going to be able to see how that opens up. And this is how I do a shaped shaker. It's super easy, but super fun. And I decided you could mat that shaker element onto a piece of white cardstock, but I decided since these papers are double-sided, it would be cute and fun to have a little bit of that pattern on the inside. So those are both of my cards using collection number 1. Let's move on to collection 2. And again, I made 2 cards using the products in this collection. I'm starting off with the Forever Fall stickers by Simple Stories, and I'm just going to mat them onto some of the cozy fall papers from Scrapping for Less that's in this collection. Just matting them on there and then using my paper trimmer to trim them down into long strips, and then I'll cut a little bit off of that too. My idea was to create some banners and then layer them onto that like cream colored cable knit sweater pattern. And this is really going to be it for my card. It's going to be practically one layer, except that I am adding these different layers of cardstock on, but I'm gluing them all down. And so I cut a bunch of those stickers, added them to pattern paper, and created banners out of them. And then I also cut down just some of the cardstock into thinner strips and added them with an angle, whereas for the stickers I kind of cut those into banner ends. This is a super simple card, but I really wanted to show those different patterns of papers because I just fell head over heels in love with them. As much as I loved the pattern papers, I loved this Paper Sweeties sweater weather stamp set, especially this solid sweater. I thought that was just so cute. So I decided to create a simple card and just build up a background. So it took me a minute or two to figure out what color inks I wanted. I knew I wanted a light brown, a darker brown, and then a pop of color. And I find that when I'm creating fall cards, I like to bring in a dark mint or a teal color. I don't know why. I just do. You could definitely swap out this teal color for a red or an orange to keep it more traditional colors. But I decided to go with this teal just to kind of bring that color in. So I thought I would just freehand stamp all these little sweaters, but I just didn't trust myself to do that. So I grabbed my T-square ruler and just added some faint pencil lines and just kept stamping my color or my sweaters in a line. And I'm sorry you keep seeing my head peek in here, and I'm sorry it looks like a disaster. I kind of was a disaster this day that I was filming. I wasn't going to be leaving my house really, so I didn't really bother to make myself look pretty, and then I stuck my head in front of the camera. So any of you moms out there will definitely understand, and you'll recognize where I was with my hair today. So I'm sorry that you have to keep seeing that. But I'm just going to keep on stamping this little sweater across my card until I have the full card background all stamped. I had some empty spaces that I definitely wanted to fill in. So I'm going to take this cozy sentiment from that same stamp set and just fill in between those sweaters. And I thought I would use a warm brown, but I didn't think that I was liking that color combination so much. So instead I grabbed a dark gray color, and I'm just stamping that cozy word in between all of those sweaters where there's that large gap and that big white space. And then I did come back with that same warm gray ink pad and a stylus, and my stylus has 2 ends on it, a larger end and a smaller end, and I'm just going to dip that into my ink pad and add some little dots to fill in the rest of the white space. And once I got going, this goes really quickly. This is one of my favorite techniques to fill in a background. I just start with that larger end of my stylus, and I'll add 5 or 6 dots going straight across my card and then fill in with the light. And I know this is sped up, but you can really see this goes super quickly, and in the end I love the effect. I stamped out the sweater weather sentiment with some brown ink to match the brown sweaters, and then I foam mounted that onto my card. So let's move on here. These are the cards I'm going to make using collection 3, and I seriously loved this pattern paper with the leaves, and I loved the Trinity stamp set. So I decided to create a kind of quilted die cut background. So I die cut that gorgeous fall leaves pattern paper, as well as that mustardy brown or mustard yellow pattern paper. And I'm going to create 2 cards at the same time relatively quickly. So I die cut a quilt die from Pink and Main from both of those patterns. And then I'm ink blending some coordinating colors of ink onto a piece of square cardstock. And at first I was going to puzzle piece all of the pieces back in using some foam tape for dimension. So I didn't think that I needed to add ink to the center. So I just blended around the outside and didn't take any care to add ink to the center. And as I was filling in these pieces, I was really loving not putting back all of the pieces, just strategically putting in some of the corners and then the center. And then it actually worked out that I didn't blend ink on the center because you kind of get that halo effect, and it looks, that white space looks super bright in the center, and then it gets dark on the edges. These are my favorite cards that I made with this collection. I'm in love with these patterns and these colors of fall. And then I love this thankful sentiment from that Trinity stamp set. So I decided to finish these off really simply and just stamp that sentiment onto some white cardstock. I trimmed around it with my scissors, and I will use some liquid adhesive to glue that right in the center of these square die cut cards. I finished off these cards with the enamel dots from the Gina Marie Designs enamel dots collection that came in this, and that's really going to be it. These were super simple, but like I said, they're my favorites. I just love these colors. They really scream autumn to me. Okay, so let's move on now to my card using the ingredients from collection 4. I picked out some of my favorite pattern papers. Wood grain is always my favorite, and I love polka dots as well. So I knew I wanted to use those too. And then I brought in that green just to kind of break up the patterns and give a little pop of color. This little moose from the Woodland Critters or Woodland Friends stamp set by Scrapping for Less is the most adorable little moose I've ever seen. So I stamped him out onto some heavyweight cardstock, and I'm just going to color him in with my alcohol markers. This time I'm using my Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends. I don't have a lot of brown Copics, and I really love the Tri-Blend markers from Spectrum Noir because they have all 3 colors that I need for my blend right in one marker, so I don't have to guess about what colors I'm using. So I'm just using a dark brown for the body of the moose, and then I'll use, it's actually tan, but I'm not using the dark tan color, so it looks more like a creamy color. I'll use that on his antlers and his little nose there, his little snout. I die cut some of the papers using some oval dies and then some stitched rectangle dies, and I actually did decide to bring in this orange striped piece just to break up the patterns a little bit more. And I will add that down at the bottom, covering up some of the little polka dots there. I'm going to glue these ovals right on top of each other, and then I'm just going to add my elements right on top. There are a bunch of sentiments in the stamp set that you could use, but I decided to actually use the Autumn Blessings die from the Banana Split kit and just die cut that from some mustard yellow cardstock, and this is actually from the previous collection, from collection 3. I used this is my scrap actually from the die cutting I did on that one card, and I die cut the sentiment from that, glued it onto my card, and then I just glued my little moose flat onto the card as well. And I will finish off this card using some enamel dots by Gina Marie Designs. I will just place these all around this little oval, and actually I think I used all of the enamel dots from this kit except for the one in my Banana Split level. I didn't use that one, but I love enamel dots, and I love that Scrapping for Less added them into every collection in this kit. I use them a lot more than sequins just because they're easy to adhere. They already have that adhesive on the back, and I like that they are shiny and they're glittery and they're just so pretty. So here's my finished card. Let's move on now to the last card I'm going to make with this kit. I'm using the Fall Greetings sentiment stamp set from the Banana Split kit, and I'm just going to position this gorgeous tree over to the left side of my card, and then I'm also going to stamp the Fall Greetings stamp set to the right of it. And I love this tree because you can pretty much use it for any season, possibly except for winter, but you can use it for spring, for summer, but the way I'm going to color it today is definitely for fall. So I also stamped out 5 of those little apples, and I colored them with colors of green, some yellow, and then a couple red. And I'm going to use those in my tree as well as on the ground next to my tree. So let's start coloring. I'm just going to use the browns on the trunk, just a typical tree trunk. I'm starting off with a lighter color, and then I'm going to come in with a super dark color because I wanted there to be some contrast and definition here. There's those shading lines, and like, you know how a tree bark is textured and it has all those lines in it. I wanted to keep that, so I used 2 colors of brown that were pretty far apart from each other. Now for my actual tree, I wish that I had started with my yellow and just laid down a base color so these colors would blend together a little bit better. But basically I wanted this tree to have all the colors of autumn in one tree. And I thought maybe I would do like a dotting technique where I just put down blobs of color and just dotted around it. But in the end I decided to use a flicking motion. So I started with my darkest red, blended with my lighter red, and then I'm coming in with like a red-orange, and then into my orange colors. I have 2 shades of orange, and then I have 2 shades of yellow that I will finish up with. And I'm just flicking these colors out, and then when I get to my last color for my yellows, I'm flicking the color in so I can make sure that I don't go outside of my lines. Here's my finished tree, and you can kind of see what I mean here. I wish I had started with my lightest yellow just to add some alcohol ink down onto my cardstock and kind of get those colors blending a little more. But it does have a lot of texture, and I like that. I'm using a shade of green and a shade of brown just to add some shading underneath my tree and just kind of look like the ground. These colors don't mix, but I wanted to add some green and some brown so it kind of looks like fall. If I just added green, it would look too springy or summery, and just brown would kind of be too drab for what I was looking for, so I mixed the two. To create a nice sky background, I'm just using a blender tool and some distress ink, and I'm just adding blobs of blue color. I saw this tip from Jennifer McGuire, and it works so well. Just adding some blobs of blue creates that illusion of clouds, and it is so easy to do. I'm adding my apples, some of them in the tree and then some of them on the ground. I'm adding all of them with foam squares, and then I'm going to add just some clear glitter with my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen onto the apples, onto the ground, and then I'm adding it to the blue so that they just have some extra sparkle and shine. This is my last card that I made in this kit. I'm going to show you all 8 of the cards I made today, and as we just look through them, I would love to know what you think of these cards. I'd love to know which one is your favorite, so leave me a comment down in the description letting me know. I super love that shaker card with the little kitty. I am in love with this sweater card. And then I also, these are my absolute favorites, these 2 thankful quilted cards. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoy your Fall is Coming September card kit by Scrapping for Less. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!